What's up, everyone? Teacher Phelps here. This is part 2 of my videos on religion in schools. Why am I making these videos? Well, number one, religion in schools tends to be a very hot topic in society. And number two, the Texas State Senate, Republican Senate, just passed 2 bills kind of requiring or encouraging Christian-based practices in schools. The first bill, SB 1515, requires the 10 Commandments to be displayed in every classroom in all schools in Texas. The second bill, SB 1396, requires or encourages schools to allow time for prayer and Bible reading every single day. And just to be clear, these bills are not full law yet. They have passed the Senate and they're going to carry on through the next stages of confirming bills. Okay, so there's still some time. They might not even be adopted. If you want to understand my full feelings on this topic, please make sure you watch part 1 first, where I say this. These bills are completely anti-American, they are anti-science, and worst of all, they are anti-free thought. In the video, I also outline secularism and why I think it's important. Today, I want to take a deeper dive into the religious elements of these bills. Maybe they are something we should consider for our schools and for our students. I'd like to start with SB 1515. And besides all the money it would cost to have a poster or framed image of the 10 Commandments in every classroom in all schools across Texas, this bill is embarrassing for a number of other reasons. There's about 10 of them. I originally copied and pasted the commandments from a Bible verse website, but I quickly realized that depending on which Bible version you have, the commandments might be phrased completely different. Thankfully though, the SB 1515 bill lays out exactly how the posters and the commandments should be worded. The posters start with,
I am the Lord, thy God.
Ooh, scary. Commandment 1. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Right away, we're getting started with the enforcement and brainwashing of one particular religion. The part of our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Amendment 1, where it says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, is already completely destroyed right at the beginning because students are being told there is only one correct God. And if you don't believe in them, shame on you. You're breaking a commandment. If you're a student that practices another religion, or if you're a student that doesn't practice a religion at all, this might be kind of a polite warning that you are in fact incorrect. At worst, this could be seen as like a veiled threat that you will be punished if you are not following this correct God. Commandment 2, thou shalt not make to thyself any graven images. What does this even mean? I'm willing to bet that if you ask any students or even Christians what this means, you would get a multitude of answers. A lot of people, including Christians, like to kind of summarize this commandment to mean don't worship anything other than God, like clothes or money or sports cars or pillowcases, I don't know. But when you look at the history of this commandment and you look at the events in the Bible, this commandment seems to specifically center on not worshiping carved or created idols in your own cult-like religion, which seemed to be very popular at the time. What's especially interesting though about this commandment is that this bill leaves out the entire phrase of this commandment. The full version is a little bit longer in the Bible, and it goes on to say this. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of parents to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate me. Yes, you heard and or read that correctly. God is going to punish innocent children for 4 generations because of the crimes of the parents. Are these really the words of a so-called loving God? This is literally child abuse. Commandment 3. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. So basically, don't say Jesus Christ or oh my God. Come on, let's be real. I'm willing to bet a majority of Christians say these phrases often. And if they do, it's not a big deal. These phrases have become very common colloquial phrases used to represent great or mild shock in the English language. Just imagine a powerful leader, okay, or a president or anyone in power trying to come up with rules or laws to organize a society, okay? Imagine if one of those rules is,
Don't be mean to me.
it's completely embarrassing. Literally, the first 3 commandments are about God Himself and about His fragile ego. Is this really something we need for all students in our schools? If you're religious already, you're just going to be further indoctrinated into your religion. If you're a non-believer or a non-practitioner of Christianity, you're just told how wrong and dumb you are. Either way, I don't think these commandments, these first 3, are really the welcoming, kind words we want in our schools. Commandment 4. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So just remember Sunday is the day of the Lord? Keep it holy? How do we do that? Well, if you're following along with the story, the general idea is that you are not supposed to work on the Sabbath, Sunday. But not just work. In the Bible, it seems to imply that Sunday, which is completely arbitrary anyways, should be entirely devoted to religious or restful endeavors. In fact, there is a story in the Bible of a man being completely stoned to death for picking up sticks. If you have your Bible at home, please take it out now. This is in Numbers 15:32 through 36, and I'm quoting the New King James Version of the Bible. Now, while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day. And those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation. They put him under guard because it had not been explained what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses,
The man must surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside the camp.
So, as the Lord commanded Moses, all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones. And he died. I don't know about you, but for me, I can only read this story with absolute heartbreak, not only for the man, but for the congregation of men, women, and children required to stone him to death. This is an embarrassing and horrible story from the Bible, one of many. Now, either the story is a parable and it's not really true, and maybe it's just used to teach a lesson. At which point, why believe anything in the Bible is true at all? Or this story is completely 100% true. At which point God further exposes himself to be an absolute monster. Oh, these commandments get dumber and dumber. Commandment 5. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Okay, cool. But what if your parents are abusive or manipulative? Or what if they just ruin your life completely? Should we still honor them? I hate to say this, but what if they are sexually abusive? Should we still honor our parents then? You should only honor your parents or anyone if they deserve to be honored. Commandment 6, thou shalt not kill. This one seems pretty straightforward, but really it's not. So we should just never kill anyone ever. Can you think of some situations where, sadly, it might be necessary to kill, like in self-defense or when your own life is threatened? Which I think is kind of funny because it really exposes the hypocrisy of the religious right. Not only is there a ton of unjust killing in the Bible, usually commanded by God, but it's interesting how the religious right love their guns and they generally support the death penalty, especially in Texas. I've heard the argument where people say, well, it probably means self-defense is okay. Okay, sure. But ultimately, this is just personal interpretation. It further exposes how weak and pathetic these commandments are. If we have to constantly add asterisks or cliff notes to these commandments to better explain them, then they aren't good commandments. Get them off our walls. Commandment 7. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay, yeah, sure, don't cheat on your significant other. Makes sense. But do Christians follow this commandment? Not really. Many Christians cheat on their significant other, okay? Just seems kind of silly to state this from them. Also, what if you're in an open relationship? Okay? What if you are okay with your significant other sleeping or being with other people? Are you going to go to hell in that case? Lastly, let's just keep in mind, and I've seen this comment elsewhere on like Twitter and other places on the internet. These commandments are required in all classrooms. Yes, even kindergarten classes. Do we really want to be talking on cheating on spouses and have to explain adultery to very small children? It just seems weird. Commandment 8, thou shalt not steal. Actually, that's not that bad. Maybe a good commandment, I don't know. Commandment 9, we're almost done. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Really? This is what we want to put on all the walls of every classroom in every school. Again, I would love to hear how students would even interpret this commandment. I would love to hear how every Christian interprets this commandment. Generally speaking, this commandment seems to say don't lie about others to others, or specifically your neighbor. I don't know, something like that. It's just kind of silly. Commandment 10, the final one. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his cattle, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Yes, that whole phrase. Often when you read this final 10th commandment, in many versions, it's just stated as don't covet. So basically, don't be jealous of your neighbor. But wait. Isn't life kind of based on coveting? If you Google the definition of coveting right now, here's what you will come up with. Coveting is to yearn to possess or have. What's funny too is that the sample sentence they share is just super innocent. It says, he covets time for exercise and fishing. Coveting is often a good thing. One could argue that when you see people or families or even your neighbor with a good life and a good career, you might want to also achieve those dreams. I mean, geez, even commercials and marketing are based around the idea of coveting. What I think is absolutely hilarious in this bill is that they choose to use the full commandment. Rather than just say, do not covet, they use the full statement, which further exposes the Bible for being sexist, for being entirely from a male's perspective, and it treats a man's wife as some sort of possession. But also, the entire phrase seems to support slavery when talking about manservants and maidservants. You might say, Mr. Phelps, those aren't slaves. Those are just house servants, employees of the family. Well, not really. The Bible clearly endorses slavery and often refers to slaves as maidservants or manservants. But let's just say they are house servants, employees, okay? Are we really trying to teach students that you shouldn't be jealous of your neighbor's servant? Really? And that's all 10 commandments. Now, you're probably looking at me and you're saying, Mr. Phelps, you are going to hell. No, I'm not. Because by your book's own rules, the only requirement for getting into heaven is to accept Jesus Christ, to accept God into your life. That's it. You can live your entire life violating all of these commandments, killing people, stealing, punching babies, whatever. And you can then accept Christ into your life and you will get a free pass. What's even the point of having commandments if it's not even a requirement to follow them? Kind of like I said in my first video, I have to admit, the Bible does say some amazing things. There are some incredibly powerful, well-stated ideas about life, tips for how to live your life that probably should be followed. But so do all holy books. Obviously, non-holy books, there's plenty that educate us and teach us how to live and be happy in life. And that's what's so great about a secular framework. We can pick and choose all the best tips, all the best commandments from all books, and we can better construct a list of commandments for our own life. Well, there you have it. So, very sorry for just going off about the commandments and all that stuff, but I hope at the very least it gets you thinking, gets you considering these bills a little more closely, and really gets you thinking about organized religion, okay? Ultimately, if you hate my guts right now, and if you disagree with me, thank you so much for watching the video and challenging your own views. Even if it didn't change your mind, I really respect those people that can sit and really take in other people's viewpoints. Thank you so much. Now, my plan was to talk about prayer and the reading of the Bible from the second bill in this video as well, but let's be real, this thing's already pretty long, so I'm going to make a part 3. Let's do it. And I'm going to talk specifically about prayer and the reading of the Bible. Honestly, my opinion might surprise you. We'll see. Either way, thank you all so much for watching. And again, if you disagree with me or you want to talk about this issue, please feel free to reach out to me, comment in the comment section, whatever you want to do. I'm happy to talk about this topic. And I will finally stop talking. Have a wonderful day. See you next time.